Hello, today I'm talking about how tracking what I ate helped me lose 80 pounds in 2009 and keep it off. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Megan Olson. I am a nutrition practitioner and also the creator of Skinny Fitalicious, where you get lower calorie, gluten-free recipes that are delicious and filling. And if you have followed my story or you haven't and you're just new around here, here is a little tidbit about me. I have not always been healthy. Most people look at me as a nutrition practitioner and think that I must have always just grown up eating vegetables. I must have just always grown up working out. I must have just always grown up eating the right things and never being overweight. And people always assume too that I never struggle. And that is so not true. I was overweight most of my life, and it took many, many decades before I was to put in the work, before I was willing to invest in myself, and before I really lost the weight and kept it off for good. And when people ask me, where did I start? How did I just start? Well, number one, it was walking, and number two, it was tracking what I ate. Tracking what I ate was actually an educational process. Now, if you've ever tracked what you ate, whether it's been Weight Watchers points, calories, or macros, comment below, let me know what have you tracked before. And also, before you run away, I am going to be hosting a free food tracking challenge next week in my Facebook group. So if you want to sign up and join us, that link is right above this video. So click that link and you can join us next week. But the thing that I learned, the lessons that I gained with tracking what I was eating was I was starting to understand about portion control. And I think that this is a big key for many people, right? How often do we go to a restaurant and we just eat everything on our plate because our parents have conditioned us to do that, right? Or how often do we just make rice with some chicken and something else, and we just put a bunch of rice on our plate and we don't really think about the quantity of rice or, you know, how much should we be eating to align with our goals. I don't think we think about those things. And when I started to track my food, and when my clients start to track their food, they start to really understand that portion control better, that maybe they have been not eating as bad as they think they have been, but actually they just have been eating the wrong size of the foods. So for instance, a lot of times people are eating some kind of nut butter, almond butter, peanut butter, whatever, right? And they're not taking the time to really look at the food label and say, okay, how much of this should I really be putting in my body? And that's what I did when I started losing weight and tracking my food. I started reading the labels, because tracking your food requires you to read labels. For instance, almond butter, one serving is 2 tablespoons, right? Those 2 tablespoons are 210 calories, 17 grams of fat. So you can see how the fat really does add up quickly. Fat's good for you, but you still have to watch how much, because it's easy to go overboard. Carbohydrates, 7 grams. Protein, 6 grams. A lot of times we think that this stuff has a lot of protein, and it's really just a lot of fat. So my point is, before I lost 80 pounds in 2009, what I usually would do would pull out a knife, pull out a spoon, and I would just dive in and eat as much as I wanted to. And that was not aligned with my goal to lose weight, that habit. A better habit for me to lose weight was to start reading the label, eating and serving myself the serving size, and then tracking it in a food app. And that's what I do, and that's what I still do to this day to help me stay on track. Now, I want to say this. Tracking what you eat is meant to give you bumpers, is meant to give you boundaries, kind of like we give our children boundaries, right? If you're somebody who tends to eat out of control, having those bumpers can be very helpful to help you maneuver throughout the day and help you transition to a healthier way of eating, so you're not eating so many portions out of control. And that can be a really big problem for many women who have 20 or more pounds to lose, and they're over 40, and they're just not really seeing the results. A lot of times it's those very simple habits of getting out the measuring spoon or a measuring cup and actually physically measuring things out. Now, there was a point in time when I would carry these around in my purse. Today, I can actually just wing it. I can say, okay, that's about a quarter cup. Okay, that's about a tablespoon, right? And so those really small things can add up really big over time. And again, it's not about being obsessive over it. It's just about putting some bumpers around how much we're eating and what we're eating. So yes, the way that I started with my journey with my 80-pound weight loss was walking and starting to track what I was eating. Tracking what I was eating helped me with those portion controls, and it also helped me with accountability. You know, sometimes we say, well, I need an accountability partner or somebody to talk to, but a lot of times we can just use these simple apps on our smartphones, or you can even go to a website if you're using desktop, and you can just use that to track your food. So if you're somebody who's tracked your food before, let me know in the comments. Have you done this before? Yes or no? Just a simple yes or no. Have you tried tracking what you eat? Did it work for you? Comment below, let me know. So here is another example, a really good example of a healthy food, extra virgin olive oil. Really good for you, right? But it's really easy to just pour this in the pan in a skillet when we're making dinner for ourselves or for our family, right? But let's look at it. So 1 tablespoon, 120 calories right here. And then we've got 14 grams of fat for that 1 tablespoon. And mind you, this is good fat. But again, fat is good, but we don't want to go overboard in it. That's the key, going overboard, right? And then it's got 0 carbs and 0 protein. So this is mostly fat. It's good fat, but again, this is what's key. Most women aren't taking the time to actually measure out that good fat so that they are actually reaching their goals. They're just pouring it in mindlessly and not paying attention. And that's why I think that tracking can really open people's eyes to some of the habits that they have been doing, and maybe just recognizing that, hey, if I just take the time to measure this out, this one thing, it can make a huge difference in how I feel and how I transform my body, right? So that's how I have lost 80 pounds since 2009, and that's what I have done to keep it off and to hold myself accountable. So who is tracking for? Tracking is for women who are over 40, who have 20 to 50 or more pounds to lose and need help getting their diet under control. Who is tracking not for? Tracking is not for people who have obsessive food behaviors, like, you know, they get really obsessive over the numbers, they want to undereat, they have orthorexia tendencies or anorexia tendencies, bad food habits. We don't want to be tracking food when we are having those type of behaviors. Tracking food is also not for people who jump from diet to diet. And I'm going to say this very candidly with you. I can talk to you all day about nutrition and food, but if your mindset is not in the right place, nothing will ever work for you. Food tracking will not work for you. And I can't stress this enough. This is the hard truth about diet, women. If you're over 40, listen up, and you've been on every diet, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, and you just kind of have jumped around and have never been able to really stay on track, it's because your mindset is not in the right place. You have to work on the mindset. Why am I overweight? Why am I in this place? What am I fueling with this food? Those are the hard questions, and many women don't want to face those questions because it brings up a lot of negative emotions, and so they just stuff those emotions away and cover them up with food. So if you are somebody who does that, just know food tracking is not for you. It is not going to work for you. It will only work if your mind is in the right place. And sometimes we even think our mindset is in the right place, you know, that first week or two when we first start a new diet and we're pretty excited about it. But if you're somebody who fails, who falls down and feels like a failure with just one little blip in your day, one little stress, one little whatever off day or whatever, and you're like, oh, you just totally feel like a failure and you fall off the wagon with that one little blip, food tracking is not for you either. So just know your mindset is huge. Everything you say to yourself in your mind is something that directly affects your actions. So if you are in the right place, you have 20 to 50 or more pounds to lose, and you're over 40, I want to see you in the food tracking challenge. Make sure you sign up. Click the link above this video. It starts on Monday, so it's coming quick. August 19th, it starts on Monday. So, and if you do sign up later, the challenge will be in an email series, so you'll just get some emails from me. But yes, definitely sign up. And if you have questions about the challenge, put them in the comments below. I'm going to be answering more of those questions for you later this week. Also, if you want to get a friend to join the challenge, share out this video, share it to your friends, like it, whatever, get them to come and do it with you. That's a little extra added motivation for you. I'll be talking to you guys soon.